Hi guys. So I just had a big message come through. Part of it was inspired by a post about a dream. Like the connection was made when I read a post about a dream that Lady Speech had about connecting with some of her ancestors, which isn't my story to tell, but it was a powerful dream, and it invoked some imagery that I have seen in my own dreams and in my own ancestral work. And so the specific message I'm going to share, and then I'm going to expand on it, is the ancestors are here, all of them, offering the remembrance, the memories and magic that they held from their relationship with the land and all who walk it. They offer this medicine to us here now, in this time, so we may heal ourselves, the land, and those ancestors who connect us back to the forgotten ways. So, very powerful, and it shows how it was an imagery of how the energetic flow from along lineages, along bloodlines, and along ancestral lines flows through, so that the memories and the memories and the lessons that our ancestors learned and the magic, the energy can flow through completely unheeded. And what I was shown was how the trauma of colonization cut, and I see literally axes and cuts being cut, because the energy that flows through those ancestral lines come right back, and then it plants into the earth in the spots where your ancestors have been. So similar to in our own personal journeys, those places where we've spent time, energetic ties are bound to. In the places where our ancestors spent time, energetic bounds are done through the ancestral line, which is why when people who are diaspora people go back to certain places where their ancestors spent, especially those places where your ancestors were for hundreds of years, you feel like you're coming home, because the land knows your language of your heart language. And so that imagery of the cutting and the removal from our land, and the removal from our family ways of passing down the information, and the removal of our language, because our languages evolved from the languages of the land where they evolved. So it's very powerful. There's a lot of layers to this onion. But the message that was very clear that's coming through this message is that the ancestors, the ancient ancestors, the indigenous ancestors for wherever on this planet, however far back you go, your family was indigenous somewhere. They had a relationship with the land and the plants, and they listened and followed the ways of the earth. The lesson, Mother Earth supported them, and it was a deep relationship of reciprocity, as Robin Wall Kimmerer would say. And so the message is coming through is that this point in time, this moment is pivotal in such a way that many nations, deep ancestors knew it would come. Just as there's stories that the indigenous people of North America knew the white people would come, and they would come in one of two ways. Sadly, they came in the way of the colonizers. And as a white person, that's not my story. As a person who's identified as white, I'm not, as another story. But the ancestors are here to say that there are ancient ways, indigenous ways, and heritages and medicines and magic that are being offered up to those who are willing to take up that mantle and reforge that connection, clear that stream or that pathway. And it's really important to reforge and reconnect, because that medicine is going to help heal what feels broken, what isn't working. It's like when the wires are just not connecting. It's going to help heal that, but it's also really, really, really important that in our work and in our connecting with the ancestors, we're not focusing on ourselves, but we're also focusing on our ancestors, especially those who, like me, lack melanin, and therefore have a lot of ancestors that really fucked shit up and we're the colonizers and we're the oppressors and are still benefiting from those systems that have been put in place, because we need to take responsibility, not as in I'm going to go and be all victim and feel shit because my family did shit, but take responsibility in healing those traumas with our ancestors, because as we heal and fill those holes and build that connection to our ancestors who are from a time where they held a deep relationship of reciprocity with the earth and all who walk her or who grow from her, then those medicines flow through. And as those medicines flow through, as we forge those connections and those pathways, we will be just naturally through working with them, we will be clearing and we will be shown and guided how to heal our lineages. And as we heal our lineages is also healed. And this is one important aspect of moving forward into a world that is not built on oppression and is not built on the hierarchy of power over. And some people call this New Earth, and some people, like, there's 1,000 words and 1,000 names from the perspectives people are working through. But making sure that the circle is completed and connecting with our ancestors so that the wisdom and knowledge that Mother Earth herself and all of our relations, like all of the relations, all the creations and all life on Earth, all of the peoples have shared and had, can come back into this world here now. So I really, really, really needed to give you this message of connecting with your ancestors. And I understand there are some recent memory, I knew them when they're living ancestors, that I find it very difficult to think or know or experience or spend time with. And what I'm hearing is that the deeper ancestors, the further back, the indigenous ancestors for wherever they were indigenous to, who lived in relationship with the cycles of the earth. And indigenous doesn't mean they stayed in one spot necessarily. They could travel too, because there were cycles of travel. But who had a deep relationship with the land, they are here now, calling you, offering you a connection and a relationship, and forging that and working on that. And even they're saying it's as simple as acknowledging our existence and being open to our messages. And that can look many different ways depending on who you are. But being open to the messages, they're being very specific. We will guide you to the information you need to know. We will guide you to the ways of being, and we will guide you to the ways of healing that will work with you, just as we've guided all who will listen along your line. Like, it's this really deep, deep, deep relationship. The ancestors are here, and it's really important that we honor and connect with our ancestors and actively work to pray, heal, send Reiki, like whatever healing modality you got going on in your life right now. Start praying for your ancestors, and for future generations. And especially if you come from a long line of trauma and traumatizers, that's our work. Our work is to help heal that line so that the trauma is healed and does not continue to perpetuate in cycles over and over and over again. And so that is the really, 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 really powerful message I needed to share today. So yeah, share this wherever you need to. I'm just learning about Instagram. Ancestors, listen to your ancestors, and know that you got this. That's why we're here. We've got this. Much love.